Hello, everyone. Okay, so I need to start this by saying something. What I'm sensing around someone in your life right now, it's not small, it's not subtle, it's consequences catching up in a way that's so undeniable, so public, so exactly what they earned, that even they can't pretend it's not happening. Welcome back. It's Anna. And before you think this is about celebrating someone's downfall, just hear me out. Because what's happening to this person isn't random. It's not the universe being cruel. It's not some mystical punishment from beyond. It's just the natural consequence of their choices finally arriving. And they can't talk their way out of it this time. Let me paint the picture for you. You may know exactly who this is. Someone who hurt you, lied to you, used you, dismissed you, made you feel small, made you question yourself, made you think maybe you were the problem. Some people move through life causing damage and never facing consequences. They're charming enough, connected enough, lucky enough that they just get away with it over and over, and you watch it happen. You watch them hurt people and land on their feet. You watch them lie and somehow come out looking good. You watch them take credit for things they didn't do and avoid blame for things they did. It might feel like the world rewards the wrong people, like being good doesn't matter, like integrity is actually a disadvantage, like the people with the least conscience somehow have the most success. And you start to wonder, does any of this actually matter? Does karma even exist? Or do some people just get to do whatever they want forever? Let's pause here because I need you to really check in. This reflection invites you to consider, is there someone in your life who's seemed untouchable, who's gotten away with things that should have caught up to them by now? Someone who you've watched operate with zero accountability, who talks their way out of everything, who always has an excuse, who somehow makes other people look like the problem when they're clearly the source. You may have tried to warn people about this person and they didn't listen, or they did listen, but this person was so convincing that your warning made you look bitter or jealous or like you were the one with the problem. It's possible you've carried frustration about this, not just about what they did to you, but about watching them continue to do it to other people, watching the pattern repeat, watching them face no real consequences. But here's what's shifting. The evidence is out. Some people can hide who they are for a long time. They're careful, strategic. They know how to manage their image, control the narrative, keep different groups of people separate so no one compares notes. But eventually, something slips. A lie gets exposed. A pattern becomes too obvious to ignore. Someone they hurt finds their voice. Multiple people start talking. The carefully constructed image cracks. You may have already seen signs of this. Maybe someone else came forward. Maybe they made a mistake they can't cover up. Maybe their luck just ran out in a very visible way. It can feel like watching someone who's been juggling finally drop all the balls at once, and everyone's standing there watching the balls hit the ground going, wait, you were juggling this whole time? This reflection invites you to consider, is less than #0. 5# is greater than. Have you noticed this person's life starting to unravel recently? There's something specific about what evidence is out means. It's possible this isn't just rumors or accusations anymore. It's proof, screenshots, receipts, multiple people with the same story, things this person can't deny or explain away or spin. The thing about people who operate in the shadows is they assume the shadows will always protect them. They assume people won't talk, won't compare notes, won't save evidence, won't eventually get fed up enough to expose what's been happening. But people do talk, especially when they realize they weren't the only one. When they find out the same lies were told to multiple people, the same manipulations used on different targets, the same patterns repeated over and over. Some people can gaslight one person, but they can't gaslight 10 people, all saying the same thing. You may have been one voice, easy to dismiss, easy to discredit. But when you're one of many voices, all describing the same behavior, that's not coincidence. That's pattern. That's evidence. And evidence doesn't care about charm or excuses or who someone knows. It can feel validating watching the truth come out, not in a petty way, in a I wasn't crazy way, in a my reality was real way, in a justice actually exists way. This reflection invites you to consider, how does it feel knowing other people are seeing what you saw all along? Let me talk about what their life is destroyed by karma actually means. It's possible destroyed is the right word. Their reputation gone. Their relationships falling apart. Their opportunities drying up. The life they built on lies and manipulation collapsing. But let's be clear about what karma is. It's not some cosmic force punishing people. It's not the universe keeping score. It's just the natural consequence of behavior catching up. It's people eventually seeing through the act. It's trust being broken so many times it can't be rebuilt. It's burning so many bridges that you run out of places to go. Some people think they can outrun consequences. They think if enough time passes, people forget. People move on. The damage they cause stops mattering. But that's not how it works. Because the damage doesn't disappear. It accumulates. And eventually, the weight of all that accumulated damage becomes impossible to carry. You may be watching someone deal with consequences they've been avoiding for years. Not just from you. From everyone they've hurt along the way. All of it catching up at once. And they probably can't understand why. Because in their mind, they were just doing what they needed to do. Just playing the game. Just looking out for themselves. But the people they stepped on to get where they are, those people remember. And when enough people remember, the story changes from this person is successful to this person is toxic. It can feel like watching a house of cards collapse. One piece falls and suddenly the whole structure is coming down. And you're standing there thinking, I knew this wasn't stable. This reflection invites you to consider, did you always know this person's success was built on shaky foundation? There's something about the serious big trouble part that needs attention. It's possible this isn't just social consequences. This might be professional, legal, financial, the kind of trouble that has real lasting impact. When someone operates without integrity long enough, they usually cross a line that matters to people with power. They lie to the wrong person, steal credit from someone who can fight back, violate trust with someone who has resources to hold them accountable. And suddenly, it's not just about hurt feelings, it's about actual consequences that can't be smoothed over with an apology or an excuse. Some people can charm their way out of hurting individuals, but they can't charm their way out of documented evidence of fraud or harassment or breach of contract or whatever line they crossed thinking they were untouchable. You may be watching this person realize they're not as protected as they thought, that the people they assumed would cover for them aren't covering anymore. that the systems they thought they'd gamed are actually holding them accountable. And here's what's important. This isn't you causing this. You didn't manifest their downfall. You didn't curse them. You didn't manipulate karma into punishing them. They did this to themselves. Every choice, every lie, every person they hurt, every bridge they burned, they built this consequence with their own behavior. It can feel weird to watch it happen. Like you should feel more triumphant or satisfied or vindicated, but often what you actually feel is sad because it didn't have to be this way. They could have just been decent and they chose not to. Over and over. This reflection invites you to consider, do you feel satisfaction watching this or just sadness that it came to this? Let me talk about what happens to you in all of this. It's possible watching their life fall apart brings up complicated feelings, relief that you're not there anymore, guilt for feeling relieved, concern even though you shouldn't care, vindication mixed with discomfort about feeling vindicated. Because you're not a cruel person. You don't actually take joy in watching people suffer, even people who hurt you. What you take joy in is validation, proof that you weren't wrong about them, evidence that your instincts were correct, confirmation that leaving or speaking up or protecting yourself was the right choice. Some people worry that feeling any satisfaction about someone's downfall makes them a bad person, but that's not what this is. This is just relief. Relief that the truth is finally visible. Relief that you're not carrying the burden of their lies anymore. You may find yourself wanting to reach out, to check on them, to offer support even after everything. And that speaks to your character. But you're not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone warm who would never do the same for you. This reflection invites you to consider, are you tempted to help this person even now? And would that be compassion or just old patterns? There's something about closure that this might provide. It's possible you've been waiting for this. Not consciously, maybe. Not sitting around hoping for their downfall, but waiting for some external validation that what happened to you mattered, that it wasn't nothing, that they didn't just get to move on unscathed while you dealt with the aftermath. And now you have it. The evidence is out. Other people see it. The consequences are real. You're not alone in what you experienced. You're not the problem. You never were. Some people need that confirmation before they can fully move on, before they can stop second guessing themselves, stop wondering if maybe they were too sensitive or too demanding or misunderstood the situation. You may feel a weight lift that you didn't fully realize you were carrying, the weight of doubt, of wondering, of questioning your own reality, because now your reality is confirmed by objective evidence, by multiple witnesses, by consequences that speak louder than any explanation you could have given. This reflection invites you to consider, does this give you the closure you needed? Or do you realize you'd already found closure on your own? Let me slow down and talk about moving forward. It's possible the temptation now is to focus on this person's downfall, to watch it unfold, to feel vindicated by every new piece of evidence that comes out, to maybe even contribute to spreading the information. And I get it. After being dismissed or gaslit or hurt, watching the truth come out feels powerful. But here's what I want you to consider. Is watching their destruction actually serving you, or is it just keeping you tethered to someone who doesn't deserve any more of your energy? Some people get so focused on their person's karma that they forget to focus on their own growth. They're so invested in watching someone fall that they're not building anything themselves. You may need to ask yourself what you're getting out of this: real satisfaction or just a distraction from doing your own work. Because the best revenge, the best karma, it's not watching them fail. It's building a life so good you don't think about them at all. This reflection invites you to consider, are you ready to let this go and focus on yourself? Or do you need to watch their consequences play out first? There's something about forgiveness that might come up here. It's possible people will tell you that you should forgive this person, that holding on to anger hurts you more than them, that you need to let it go and move on. And maybe eventually you will. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending what they did was okay. It doesn't mean welcoming them back into your life. Forgiveness is for you. It's releasing the hold this person has on your emotional state. It's choosing not to let what they did define your future. But you don't have to forgive to move forward. And you definitely don't have to forgive on anyone else's timeline. Some people rush forgiveness because they think it's required for healing. But sometimes anger is appropriate. Sometimes boundaries matter more than forgiveness. Sometimes the healthiest thing is to just move on without forgiving. You remain in complete control of how you process this. You can feel satisfied. You can feel indifferent. You can feel sad. You can feel complicated things all at once. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought up a specific person and maybe some feelings you thought you'd processed. Maybe relief, maybe residual anger, maybe just tiredness about the whole situation. Whatever it is, honor it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Trust yourself to know what this means for you. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If someone who hurt you is finally facing consequences, how does that actually make you feel? Vindicated, sad, ready to move on? Drop it in the comments if you want. And this, can you let this be the end of the story? Or do you need to keep watching? They're in serious big trouble, and the evidence is out, and their life is being destroyed by karma. And that's happening with or without your attention. You've been vindicated. You were right about them. Other people see it now too. That's enough. That's closure. That's justice. Not eventually, right now, today. Trust yourself with this. Trust that you can acknowledge the consequences without making their downfall your identity. You can be glad the truth came out without becoming someone who takes joy in others' suffering. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, the best revenge is a life so full and good that you forget to check what happened to people who wronged you. Build that, not later. Now,